Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are on page 22. Page 22. All right. So we're going to start with some units and quantities that we already know, things that are not unfamiliar. We already know about distance, yes? What is the symbol for distance? D. What is the unit for distance? Meters. And what's the symbol for meters? M. So we already know those. Time. Do we know the symbol for time? T. Big T or little t? Little t. Seconds. Symbol is S. Little s. All right. Now, speed in physics is usually called velocity. Okay? There is a little slight difference, but I'll let your Physics 11 teacher teach you that if you should choose to take that. You may be familiar with this formula from math. Speed is equal to the distance over the time. Did you guys know that? Okay, we're just going to call it velocity now. Velocity is equal to the distance divided by the time. The abbreviation for velocity, which is speed, is V, little v. I am, I believe. Let me double check. I think I was clever. I'm often not clever, but today I was. Yay! Okay. And do you remember last day I told you about these little cubs that are going to show up? And what are they doing? They're guessing. Oh, that was supposed to be a highlighter, not a scribble. Okay, they are guessing. And we are going to use this formula. Okay, this thing is called a formula or an equation. Normally we would call it a formula, but because CUBS doesn't sound very nice, we're also going to call it an equation so that we can use guess. Okay? And that's going to be the E in guess CUBS. And now we're going to do a word problem. Okay? What is the average velocity so whenever you have the question word, right? Question word, quantity, that is what we call our unknown. Because it's like, what is it? I don't know. It's unknown. We are told that this ball, we want to know its velocity, it rolls 20 meters. 20 meters is something that we are given in the question. Okay, we are given that quantity. What quantity are we measuring if we have 20 meters? That is measuring distance. Okay, so we're given distance. What else are we given in this question? We are given 5 seconds. And so we are given the time. So we have two things that have been given to us and one thing that is an unknown. All right? And guess what? We have a formula that relates those three things. If we are given two things, we can solve for the third. So we're going to be doing it's a little bit like math here. In fact, it is math. No. Look at this. You're dividing one thing by another, and you're allowed to use a calculator. So don't be like, oh my God, scary math. It's not, even if math were scary, this is not even slightly scary. This is like what you could do in, I don't know, grade 5, 4, I don't know. Okay? What we are going to do is we are going to write down the given quantities. That's what the G stands for in Guess CUBS. We're going to write down the given quantities, and there is a specific way we will write it down. We don't just write down 20 meters. We write distance equals 20, and because it says 0.0, we're going to write 0.0. And then we don't write meters because that takes too long. We're just going to write the symbol M. So that's one of our givens. Distance is given to us, and we write distance equals 20.0 meters. When you get marked on your quizzes for this, your quizzes are going to be out of 100 billion points, okay? Because I'm literally going to give you a mark for D. I'm going to give you a mark for having an equal sign. I'm going to have you a mark for writing this correctly with the right number of decimal places and whatever. And I'm going to give you a mark for having meters. Look, you have 4 marks and all you've done is told me some information from the question. Yes? Okay. Could you please write down the other given quantity in the same way that we just did here? So try that. The other given quantity from the question. Yes. What is the what? The unit for velocity, because it's distance over time, it is meters per second. We'll come to that, okay? We'll get that at the end of the question. Good question, though. You should have, what's the first thing you should write? You should write the letter T, because our other given is time. Okay, our other given is time because we were given seconds. So T equals how much time were we given? 5 seconds. Are you happy with what I've written? No. Why not? Because I need to have seconds. And also in the question, you weren't just given 5 seconds, you were given 5.0 seconds. The decimal places are not going to matter to most of you this year, but there is a little tiny enriched thing that I am going to teach you along the way, so if you want to learn it, you can learn it, okay? Now, distance, time, what is our unknown? Yes?
Velocity.
It is, but what we want to do is we want to write it down in the way that it was mentioned in the question. So we are looking for velocity, and we want to write down the symbol for velocity. So what is the symbol for velocity? V. So we're going to say velocity equals, we don't know. If we know the unit of velocity, we can put it beside the question mark, or we can just leave it blank and get it at the end. For now, we're just going to leave it blank. Next thing we're going to do, so we have our given, we have our unknown, that's the G and the U in guess. Next thing we're going to do is our equation. So we're going to go to our equations. There's only one so far. And we're going to pick the equation that has D and T and V. What is that equation? V equals D over T. Okay, so velocity equals distance over time. What we don't do, no, I'll tell you later. Okay, so that's our equation. And then the first S in guess. So we've done the G, we've done the unknown, we've done the equation. The first S is solve for whatever the unknown is. That means you want whatever your unknown is to be on the left-hand side of the equation all by itself. Is V on the left-hand side of the equation all by itself? Yes, so we don't need to do anything. This is done. So this was solve. Okay, so we don't really need to do solve this time. The next thing we're going to do, the next S stands for substitute. Okay, so the next sub is for substitute. And what that means is we are going to, instead of writing V equals D over T, we're going to write V equals, and then we will substitute the actual distance instead of D. What is the actual distance? What's the actual distance? 20 meters. And we're going to write it this way. We're going to write 20.0 meters. You need both the number and the unit. So when we substitute, we need the number and we need the unit. So what would the bottom of that equation be? What would go on the bottom?
Sorry.
Yeah, we have on the bottom is time. So we're going to put 5.0 and then seconds because we need the number and the unit. Solve, substitute. We got to the end of guess. G-U-E-S-S. What letter comes next? Who's doing the guessing? The CUBS. And C stands for calculate. So you actually just throw those numbers into your brain or your calculator, depending on which is easier for you. So we would say V is equal to, what's 20 divided by 5? 4 meters. Okay, 4. And then our unit is meters per second. So we have substitute, then we have calculate. Then the U stands for units. Make sure your final answer has units. Yes? B stands for box your answer. Okay, so you're going to box your answer. And then S stands for one of two things. If you want to just do it the regular way, S stands for stop. Stop at a reasonable number of digits. I know I've said 2 to 4, but anywhere between 1 to 4 digits is fine. Okay? So if you get like a number in the calculator where it's 4.3782159 blah, 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 does it make sense to write down that many digits, or is that just crazy? That's kind of crazy. I would stick with usually 2 or 3. 3 is always a good. 3 is good. If you're unsure how many digits to put 3 digits. If you want to, you can give your answer to correct sig figs. Now, I will show you how to do this. When you multiply or divide, you round your final answer to the smaller number of sig figs in the question. I should say in the calculation. Now, if you don't remember what sig figs are, don't worry about doing this. But I'll review for you just in case you want it, okay? So what we're going to do, I'll bring this back down again so you can see it again, so don't worry about copying it just now. What we're going to do is we're going to look at the number 20. How many sig figs in the number 20.0? Anyone remember how to do that? There are 3, okay? 3 sig figs. How many sig figs in the number 5.0? 2 sig figs. What is the smallest number of sig figs? 3 or 2? 2. So what we're going to do with our answer, if you choose to do the enriched, your answer wouldn't be 4 meters per second. Your answer would be 4.0 meters per second because this has 2 sig figs. This is the smaller number of sig figs. There's a different rule for adding and subtracting, but all we're going to be doing this year is multiplying and dividing. So we just get the one rule. Okay? If you're interested in this, by tomorrow I will have run off just a little review of this and some practice on it. Okay, so I will have that for you if you're interested. How many people think they would like a copy so I know how many to make? Put your hand up high so I can count. 1, 2, there, that's everybody. Okay, I'll make one for everybody, and if you choose not to take it, that's okay. I'll just use it next semester. Okay, so that final S means stop or sig figs. And what do I mean by stop? I mean, don't just use a reasonable number of digits. Stop at a reasonable number of digits. Was this difficult?
No.
No. Was this math scary? No, not scary math. Okay? So all we're doing is some division, pretty straightforward. What I've done, though, is I have given you a way to solve a problem that will be good all the way through university. Because this is pretty easy. You might even be able to look at this question. Many people can just look at this question. If you're kind of good at this sort of thing, if this is one of your natural talents, you could look at this and you could be like, the answer is 4. Right? You could just look at it and say 4. Yeah? But what I really want is for you to get in the habit of writing out your given, your unknown, your equation, solving the equation, substituting with units, doing the calculation, making sure your answer has units and a box and the correct number of digits. Okay? And the reason I want that is, number one, for the person who's marking it, it makes it so nice for me as a marker to see a box. Yes? But it's also going to make it really easy for you to do a problem like, you don't have to turn here yet, but I'm just going to show you. That one. Ooh, that's something you might see in university. I don't think I did because I didn't take physics that high. But this looks overwhelming, yes? But if you follow that same method, it will cease to be overwhelming and you just follow it and you plug things in and it all works out. Okay? You're not going to get here in high school. So don't worry. If you're like, what the? Don't worry. Not in high school. And not in university unless you choose to take physics. And by that time, you'll have done lots of calculations, so it won't seem scary at all. All right, we are going to go to page 24. Okay? Do we remember the symbol for volume? Capital V. What's the unit for volume? Liters. And what is the abbreviation for liters? Capital L. Do we remember that mass is M? Yes? Do we remember that kilograms is kg? I know we probably did grams, but we're going to do kilograms here because that's what's mostly used in physics. Okay? Physics uses kilograms. You have to be careful about your upper and lower case. Little v was for velocity, but big V is for volume. Okay, so make sure that you've got little v for velocity, big V for volume. Everything needs to be big and little in the way that it should be. Okay, next. Here is our formula. The other name for a formula is an equation, because CUBS does not make any sense. So guess CUBS. Did you learn a density formula last year? Maybe? Probably? Okay. Density is equal to the mass divided by the volume. Okay, so density is mass over volume. We are going to use a big D for density. Why am I using big D for density? Little d is for distance. Okay? However, you'll find later on, people often do use little d for density, which is kind of irritating. The real symbol for density is the Greek letter rho, which looks like a P. So let's not do that. Let's make it a big D. Okay? Big D for density. Shh. Let's go through this question and pick out the givens and the unknown. See if you can find the unknown. In that sentence, what is the unknown? It's whatever is being asked about. So you look for the question words. What is? That's your question word. And whatever is being asked about is your unknown. So what is our unknown? Density. So that's our unknown. I'm just going to call it UNC. Is that okay? UNC. If you don't like UNC, you can call it unknown. Okay? What is the symbol for density? Big D. So we're just going to put that there just so we remember. Okay? What is the density of rubbing alcohol if 2.5 liters of alcohol has a mass of 197 kilograms? So you're going to read the rest of that and you're going to pick out your given quantities. What is one given quantity? 2.5 liters, that is a given. So just look for the number and its unit. Okay, that's given. What quantity is that measuring? Liters measures volume. Okay. What is our other given? Mass. Okay, we've got 1.97 kilograms. Whoa. And that is mass. So I want to see if you guys can write down the given and the unknown, and then we're going to mark it together. And you'll see what you get out of like 157. Okay? So see if you can write down your given, your unknown, and the equation. Those first three. Have you guys written it down? You're given your unknown in the equation? You guys can tell me how I've done with my given. How have I done with my given? Are we happy? Yeah. No. Okay, what if I did this? No. Where should those liters go? They should go right after the number because that's 2.5 liters. That's how we say it. That's how we should write it. What should go on the other side of the equal sign? V, capital V for volume. If you wrote V, give yourself a check mark. If you wrote equals, give yourself a check mark. If you got 2.5, check. Liter, check. What should the next one say? M. What else am I missing? Equals. Kilograms. So again, you can give yourself 1, 2, 3, 4. So you can mark your given out of 8. Okay? See what you got out of 8. What is our unknown? Our unknown is the density. Do we like what I've written? No, we're going to use the abbreviation to be efficient. So we're going to get rid of all of that. And we're going to write question mark here, because that's what we don't know. What is our equation? And you just get to look that up, okay? You don't have to like you don't have to memorize them. If you want to memorize the formulas, please go ahead. That can be part of the enriched, right? But you don't need to. And this one's written right here. D equals M over V. So that was G, U, and E. What does the first S stand for? Solve. And we're solving for the unk, which means that we need to get it by itself and on the left. Is D by itself and on the left? Yes. So this is already done. Done. What does the second S in guess stand for? Substitute. What are we substituting? We need the number and we need the unit. So we take our formula. We still have D. What do we put on the top now? Instead of M, we write .97 kilograms. Okay? And we will put that over. What are we going to put on the bottom? On the bottom, we are going to put 2.5 liters. Now this one I cannot do in my head, right? So I would want to have a calculator. What are you going to bring next class? Calculator. Okay, well actually tomorrow you've got a test, but you might do some questions afterwards. So bring a calculator. I do have a few for loaning, but not a whole ton, okay? So 197 divided by 2.5 is then we calculate, which means we actually do the numbers. Divide 1.97 by 2.5, and we get D is equal to 0.788. What comes after C? What letter comes after C? Guess. CUBS. What letter comes after C? U. What does U stand for? It stands for units. Do we have our units yet? No. What are our units? And for units, you just look here and you say, what is my unit? Kilograms per liter. That's our unit. So you don't have to do anything fancy. Just write down what was there before. What letter comes after U? B. B stands for? Box. Box your answer. Technically, you should probably do the S before the B, but guess CUBS doesn't sound very good. So the box can happen at the very end. What does our S stand for? Stop at a reasonable number of digits. Is 1, 2, 3 a reasonable number of digits? Yeah. Anywhere between 1 to 4 is reasonable. Okay? And that's 3 digits, so that's good. Or, if you choose, you can do sig figs. And here's how we would do those. We would say, how many sig figs in 1.97? 3 sig figs. How many in 2.5? 2 sig figs. So in terms of sig figs, we always go with the bigger number or the smaller number? Smaller number. So what's the smaller number of sig figs? 2 sig figs. So what that means is we need to take this and we need to round it to 2 digits. That 0 at the front doesn't count. Like I said, I'm going to give you like a little review of that if you're into counting sig figs. That 0 at the front is just a placeholder. It tells you your number hasn't started yet. So 2 sig figs would be 0.7, and I would have to round it up because I look to the number to the right and I say that is bigger than 5, so I would round it up. Kilograms per liter. Is good? Okay. Now, you could do this all in one line rather than writing it out step by step by step by step. You would still do these 3. But let's watch how you would do it in one line. Okay? You would have density is equal to the mass over the volume. So we have our equation, and it has been solved, okay? So we have our solved equation, and then we substitute and so that was 1.97, was it? 1.97. Not just 1.97, but 1.97 kg. And the volume was 2.5 liters. We substitute and then we calculate. .788 kilograms per liter. And then let's assume that I want to do sig figs. Because I'm rounding, it's not really equal. Usually I will just put an arrow because I'm rounding. And that's going to become 0.79 kilograms per liter, and then I would box that. Oh, by the way, it is totally okay for the line to go either not under the number, just under the kilograms, or you can put it all the way under the number and the kilograms. Either way is okay for writing that unit. Okay, this would be the enriched answer. If you just wanted the regular answer, you could just put a box around this and be done. So what we have now is we have a mathematical sentence that you can read from left to right that tells you exactly what you've done. Density is mass over volume. What is the mass? It's 1.97 kilograms. What's it over? It's over 2.5 liters. What does that equal? 0.788 kilograms per liter. And then we round that to 0.79 kilograms per liter, and then you are done. Is good? Okay. So there are some. This is just showing you why it's useful. We have here our formulas, our equations, and you are going to do for the first one, you're going to actually fill in all of these things here. What is the quantity? What quantity is measured in liters? What is the symbol for that quantity? This is getting you used to thinking about quantities and units differently. You're going to write the given information, the unknown, the equation, and then the next page will help you out. So you guys are going to now work on pages 26, 27, and 28. Hello. Yay! Thank you so much.
Oh, where are you going? Tell me what? Back in there. You could be. You should like take me with you. You should like take me. Why? Like, we need to sort that. You want name, I don't know how to say it. So I don't want to. I'm like, what I learned. He heard me out. Yeah. It's wrong. Because so if I have to work on 5 years, or wait, so many. You probably yeah. But let's see.
Yes. That was like.
We go. Do you need a new pen?
I have.
You have an pen? Okay. Good.
Yeah. Yes.
Anyone need to borrow a calculator?
Yeah. You know, it's a bigger number divided.
Anyone else need to borrow a calculator?
Bigger number. The bigger number. Yeah.
There's places.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's like someone against shit. Solve, but that means it's not by itself. Is. Oh, we did all. I mean, my wife's.
Yeah, we'll do it.
It's just.
Anybody else need a calculator to do the calculate step?
If anyone needs calculators, I'm around, okay?
Yes. Yeah, it's only do the simplest of Not yet. I want you to
You're very hard.
Oh.
We got. And.
Don't feel like going now. It does not have to be. No, this is not. It's not. Oh, gosh. It's not really. It's great. Oh, wait. That's fair,
I'm sorry.
I literally have this plan. I don't think Yeah, water needs to be You need to say. You're like, right here,
That's the thing.
So now I know I need to be free, but not. And. Not. Oh, yeah. I just, yeah. I mean, it's like, you look kind of like, no, I mean, it's just. What was my?
Oh, well, thank you.
We did, right? So let's try.
Like, what happened to you? Okay.
That's with me. I see a phone. I see a phone with a fish.
Fish. Put it back in the river bank. Yeah. It's a great Pacific garbage patch. Please put it in the Great Pacific Garbage Patch.
One. Oh my
Now, well, I was then
No, it's like.
Oh,
Let's go back. I think it's better than I built my drummers. Am I taking the bus? Yeah. I'll take the bus and drop my stuff. I said, I did. Or spider. You guys like do your. Yeah, I'm gonna try to add it.
What things do I need to do today? That's what I have to figure out now.
It's small, you guys right. Yeah, sorry. Oh, no. Bye, guys.
the legal student.
Okay.
You have my.
Wait. Two. Yeah.
Bye. Bye, Laura. See you later.
Bye, Miss Spence.
Bye.
Thank you so
Catch you
much
tomorrow.
for the chemistry hub.
No.
I might be here for next morning.
Okay. Yeah, no problem.
Let's act.
All good. Don't worry.
Thanks so much. You are really helping me.
I tried.
Thanks, Miss. You are not trying, you're doing it.
Excellent.